We're going to go ahead and get started. Call the Grandview City Council to order. First order of business is pledge of allegiance. Pledge of allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all. Okay, the first order of business is the swearing in of elected members. The first is Anthony Panzera, who will be sworn in by Mayor Greg Burns.
Ready for this? How many times is this?
I don't remember.
Put your left hand on the Bible, raise your right hand. Repeat after me, although I know you have it memorized. I, Anthony Panzera,
I, Anthony Panzera,
solemnly swear that I will support the Constitution of the United States
thank you, solemnly swear that I will support the Constitution of the United States
and the Constitution of the State of Ohio,
and the Constitution of the State of Ohio,
the Charter and ordinances of the City of Grandview Heights,
the Charter and ordinances of the City of Grandview Heights,
and will faithfully, honestly, and impartially
and will faithfully, honestly, and impartially
discharge the duties as a City Council member
discharge the duties of the City Council member
of the City of Grandview Heights
of the City of Grandview Heights
in Franklin County, Ohio.
and Franklin County, Ohio.
Congratulations and welcome back.
Thanks.
Next, we swear in of myself, Chris Smith, also Mayor Burns.
Chris, would you like to see the Bible? Would you like to do the Bible? Raise your right hand and repeat after me. I, Chris Smith,
I, Chris Smith,
solemnly swear that I will support the Constitution of the United States
solemnly swear that I will support the Constitution of the United States
and the Constitution of the State of Ohio,
and the Constitution of the State of Ohio,
the Charter and ordinances of the City of Grandview Heights,
the Charter and ordinances of the City of Grandview Heights,
and I will faithfully, honestly, and impartially
and I will faithfully, honestly, and impartially
discharge the duties as a City Council member
discharge the duties of a City Council member
of the City of Grandview Heights
of the City of Grandview Heights
in Franklin County, Ohio.
in Franklin County, Ohio.
You're in. Congratulations. Let me sign this off.
Oh, okay.
Thank you. All right, next.
Next, to be sworn in, Melanie Houston by State Representative Kristen Boggs.
I'm gonna have the whole little family come up, if that's okay? You wanna put that for me? All right. Can you hold it up a little bit?
All right. I state your name.
I, Melanie Houston,
Solemnly swear that I will support the Constitution of the United States
solemnly swear that I will support the Constitution of the United States
and the Constitution of the State of Ohio,
and the Constitution of the State of Ohio,
the Charter and ordinance of the City of Grandview Heights,
the Charter and ordinance of the City of Grandview Heights,
and will faithfully,
honestly,
and impartially discharge the duties as a City Council member
and impartially discharge the duties of the City Council member
of the City of Grandview Heights
of the City of Grandview Heights
in Franklin County, Ohio.
in Franklin County, Ohio.
Yay.
Yay, thank you. Thank you. We send that off. You want this? Can I take it off?
Okay, finally, sworn in, Michelle Kozak, also by State Representative Kristen Boggs.
What's that? Go ahead. Do you want to hold it?
Oh, no, do you have to use?
Okay.
I state your name.
I, Michelle Kozak,
Solemnly swear that I will support the Constitution of the United States
solemnly swear that I will support the Constitution of the United States
and the Constitution of the State of Ohio
and the Constitution of the State of Ohio
and the Charter and Ordinance of the City of Grandview Heights,
and the Charter and Ordinance of the City of Grandview Heights,
and will faithfully, honestly, and impartially
honestly, and impartially
discharge the duties as a City Council member of the City of Grandview Heights
discharge the duties as a City Council member of the City of Grandview Heights
in Franklin County, Ohio.
in Franklin County, Ohio.
Congratulations.
Thank you.
Congratulations, everyone. Next on the agenda is the election of city council officers. And first is president. I nominate Emily Keeler to be council president.
Second.
Does the clerk need to call the roll for this? Or? Voice vote, okay. All in favor, say aye.
Aye.
Opposed? Next will be nomination of, an election of vice president of the city council.
Thank you. I nominate Chris Smith for vice president.
Second.
All in favor, say aye.
Aye.
All opposed?
All right,
All right.
we will move on. Here. That's it. Thank you. Next we have roll call. Clerk, can you please call the roll?
Edwards.
Here.
Patinos. This has Patinos is excused. Thank you. Houston. Present. Kozak. Here. Panzera.
Here.
Smith.
Here.
President Keeler. Here. Mayor Kearns. Here. Director Dvorsky. Excused. City Attorney Kuzan. We have Matt Coppage in his place.
Here.
Director Miller. Here. All are present except for Hassel Patinos and Director Dvorsky. Thank you. Next, we have the approval of proceedings for December 6th, 2021 for the regular meeting. Are there any edits, motions? Move to approve.
Second.
Motion and second. All in favor, say aye.
Aye.
Next, we have the mayoral appointment for the Gen Z and Planning Commission.
Yes, thank you. I submit for your approval Steve Gladman to serve another term on the Gen Z. Mr. Gladman was a three-term council member, served 15 years as CEO of Affordable Housing Trust. He is well known to you. He has also finished out a term on the Gen Z, and I'm submitting for your confirmation that he be affirmed to serve another term.
Are there any questions? Motion?
I move to confirm and reappoint Steve Glavin to the Gen Z.
Second.
Thank you. Motion is second. All in favor, say aye.
Aye.
Moving on, Planning Commission.
Thank you. I do not have anybody at this time. I will be coming back to you when I do.
Thank you. Next, we have comments from visitors. I have one comment form. By the way, we are all done with our swearing in, so if any of you here were just for that and you'd like to leave, you're more than welcome to leave, or you can stay for the whole thing. Just don't feel you have to stay for the whole meeting. Next, we have Austin Carter of 1203 Westwood. If you'd like to come up to the podium here.
Good evening. I'm Austin Carter. I moved here with the family in August, although I grew up in Grandview, class of 2001. I'm here to urge council to prioritize pedestrian and cycling infrastructure to include physically protected bike lanes. Before living in Grandview, my family spent 4 years living in the UK. While there, we walked and used public transportation all the time. I commuted to work daily on a bike for 30 minutes each way. These experiences changed my life. I got exercise. I felt more connected with my community. I felt happier. Now that my family is back in the U.S., I try to walk and bike in my day-to-day life as much as I can, but it is not as safe or convenient to do so here. The cars are bigger and faster. There's less consideration for the physical safety and convenience of pedestrians and cyclists. And the result is predictable. I drive more. 3 days ago, my 6-year-old daughter and I were returning from Kroger on bike, and we're headed westbound on First Avenue between Elmwood and Westwood. This is just in front of your house, Mr. Smith. We were in the share row, and she was about 40 feet ahead of me, about to turn left onto Westwood, which is the block I live on. A car behind me crossed the double yellow line to pass us on the left. For a moment, time stood still. I knew that my daughter was about to turn left onto Westwood, but the car driver didn't. My heart stopped. Fortunately, my daughter looked back before turning, saw the car, and continued straight until it passed. What if she hadn't? Or what if one of 1,000 other real-life events had reduced the safety of my daughter at that moment? A frosted window, a text message, a 16-year-old driver, a flat tire, an inopportune sneeze. The Dutch have accurately identified the problem. Asking people to behave safely with paint or signs 100% of the time is a recipe for disaster. Mitigating circumstances and repetition over time conspire to produce a terrible result. Motor vehicle crashes are the leading cause of death for U.S. children aged 1 to 19. The Dutch have also developed a way to minimize the problem. Engineer safety into the environment. No jacket is bright enough or helmet thick enough to protect my daughter from a 4,000-pound motor vehicle. The best way to protect her is to engineer the street so that when mistakes do inevitably happen, it is less likely to result in serious injury. Speed humps, continuous crosswalks, bump outs, bollards. Speed limit signs and enforcement are better than no speed limit signs and no enforcement, but they are no replacement for limiting excessive speed with physical infrastructure like speed bumps. I can't lick my thumb because I'm wearing a mask. Painted sharrows on the street are better than no painted sharrows at all, but they are no replacement for real cycling infrastructure. Dedicated bike lanes that are physically separated from motor vehicles. Improving the safety of our streets does more than save lives and prevent injuries. It also makes walking and biking more convenient for everyone, which in turn will lead to more families, particularly those with children, choosing healthier means of transportation, like walking and biking, for their day-to-day lives. As an example, my daughter is physically capable of riding her bike to Stevenson in the morning and is mature enough to do so as well. However, I don't allow her to do this because I'm not confident in her physical safety along First Avenue share row. So instead, we tend to drive, which contributes to the street feeling less safe for others. If there was a dedicated protected bike path, however, I would feel 100% confident in her physical safety and would allow her to ride her bike to school. Some will say that it can't be done here. I disagree. It is a matter of political will and the courage of our leaders. With that in mind, I have just a few questions. There was a bike plan in 2016. How much has been implemented? Is there a plan to update it? What can the city do to provide continuous protected bike paths within Grandview? What about to surrounding areas, working with neighboring communities to connect with our local area? Is there a continuous protected bike path south of Goodale Boulevard on Grandview Avenue through the new crossing to connect residents to the bike path entrances? 670. Should the city reconsider opening Fairview Avenue to motor vehicles since it is adjacent to the main school? There's a saying, the best time to plant a tree was 20 years ago. The second best time is now. The same is true for protected bike paths. Grandview residents will be healthier, more connected with one another, and happier for it. Thank you.
Thank you, Mr. Carter, for coming in. We appreciate that. Just very quickly, some of your questions, we are continually upgrading and implementing that. I actually sponsored the legislation and was on the committee that helped create that bike plan. So there's lots of exciting things happening, and so we're not making this meeting go on forever. I'm sure we can follow up with you and
Great.
answer some of those questions for you.
Thank you.
Yeah.
Appreciate it.
Yep, thank you. All right. That is the only comment form I have, so we will move on to department head reports. Chief, would you like to come forward? Either, whoever wants.
Good evening to everybody. Everybody hear me okay?
Yes.
Besides the obvious, the fire departments face adversity daily, weekly, monthly with everything going on. I'm proud to say we're rolling with the punches. We're doing really, really well handling everything. A couple of the big things we're facing is, you've seen in my reports, we've had about a 25% increase in runs. And then pair that with the Central Ohio hospitals being so busy and what's in the emergency transport plan, which is a very unique situation that Central Ohio has developed to triage every patient and to distribute them throughout Central Ohio so not one hospital gets overwhelmed when they're all experiencing staffing issues and bed opening issues. So we're finding an increase in a longer turnaround time for our EMS runs. So a lot of times we're faced with having to go to a further hospital, one that's participating in the emergency transport plan, which makes our runs go longer. So it's made our days a little bit longer, but we're handling it. I'm also proud to say we're handling COVID really, really well here in Grandview. And I think one of the big things we're doing is that our communication goes out not just to the person involved, but every department head is involved in the communications. We're all on the same page. We're all dealing with each case individually together. So the same thing, repetitive, good continuous attack on COVID is really what we're doing. And I think we've done a really good job with our consistency. So I'm very proud of that. I don't have anything further, and if you have any questions for me, I'm more than happy to address them.
Great, thank you. Are there any questions for the chief? All right, thank you very much. You are
Th-
excused, and we appreciate the update.
Thank you. Stay safe.
All right, other chief.
Good evening, Happy New Year. Congratulations to everybody that was sworn in tonight. I have submitted my report. As you can see, we're back to pre-COVID levels on activity levels, reports, safety measures, things of that nature. I'm more than willing to take any questions that you may have regarding the report. So fire away if you have anything.
Are there any questions for the chief?
I'll say a comment, just an appreciation of the, thank you, Chief, for the report, and appreciation of the professional development. I just like having that in the report and saw some of the new standards from the Attorney General's office, I
Correct.
think. And if you want to say anything more about that, feel free to. But.
Yeah, so that was, so I want to say probably 5 years ago, that continual professional training was mandated by the state back then. I believe funding resulted in it being cut off, and now it's being reinstituted. So the courses that I listed in my report are the areas where our officers must take courses this year, 24 hours within those categories. That'll be just continued, and the Attorney General will audit those to make sure we have to submit a report at the end of the year and keep up with that for them to even be a certified police officer. So if they don't get that training, then they're no longer permitted to be a police officer.
Thank you.
Great, thank you. Any other questions? All right, thank you much for your report, and you are excused. Happy New Year.
Have a good evening, guys.
Thank you.
Next is the mayor's report.
Our
believe it's 22. I would first like to welcome new council member Kozak.
Thank you.
Look forward to working with you. Congratulations to you, as well as Mr. Panzera, Ms. Houston, and Mr. Smith. This is a great community. It's really a privilege to serve with you all. I think you're going to enjoy it. And the community remains strong because of good leadership. And I just want to express appreciation for those who have served and are serving. COVID update was mentioned by both chiefs. Thank you to the fire chief who just left for his leadership. Also thanks to Franklin County Public Health. We work with them very regularly, and you're all aware of the sobering statistics as we ride out this Omicron wave. Like every organization, we have had some disruption, but proud to say we have kept our service levels high and not had any interruptions in service. Over the holidays, we did make some protocol adjustments and went back to really where we were at the beginning of the pandemic with enhanced cleaning, distancing, keeping people kind of apart in their shifts. And I did talk to the county and promised them I would mention this to you all. They're really strongly encouraging masking through January. And so we will be sending out another reminder of that tomorrow. But I look around and see most of our businesses are pretty compliant with this. People are very respectful, I feel, in our community. It's a highly educated and highly vaccinated community, and I feel very fortunate to live here. But I wanted to bring that up to you all and appreciate council's commitment to setting an example in that regard, as well as the schools. We did do a COVID test giveaway. As you probably know, we ran out within 15-20 minutes, and just really a reflection of where we are, the high demand. This happened in every municipality and agency that did the giveaways that day. In other news, Parks Department, most of you I saw at the Holiday at the Heights, great first time event. Hope to make that an annual thing. It's very well received by residents and the business community. We really wanted to use it as an economic development awareness and engagement, and they really enjoyed it and appreciated it. So I've been very thankful to Parks for pulling that together and the other staff members who helped with the planning and execution of that. And I hope you had a good time. Also in Parks, you all know we lost a 30-year employee to retirement. We had a really great send-off for Martin Durbin. Since then, we've had also, as you know, we restructured a bit in the Parks and the Rec departments and really bifurcated the superintendents there. And we had a promotion of Taylor Tobias to Parks, or Rec superintendent rather. And we have a new Rec programmer on board as well, Jill Collins. So look forward to you all meeting her, and I know some of your kids will be working with her. So Parks has done a really great job despite, again, the curveballs and the restrictions and difficulties that everybody has had with COVID. If you read the police chief's report, the police department really wants to renew the request to the community to get on the bike registry. And also, if you are so inclined, your Ring and Nest and home cameras, there's a registry for those as well. All voluntary, doesn't authorize the police to go in there and look at things, but it does give them a lead to track down in the event of something that happens in the vicinity. And I will say that those are used quite a bit in this day and age. A lot of things are caught on camera. Service and engineering departments, we made it through the holidays with no snow events. We should have a little bit of action later this week, hopefully mild. We were prepared. Leaf and yard waste pickup went well, very smoothly. We thank the community for their cooperation. If there is yard waste, small amounts can be taken to the service department on McKinley, or larger amounts to Ohio Mulch on Roberts Road. Also with engineering is a review of a grant opportunity for EV charging stations that came to us really in the last month. And we've identified several locations. We've really narrowed it down to 2. They are being reviewed again by engineering for the fit and for the grant appropriateness, as well as how competitive we could be. But really one on the west west side, one on the east side. And council would need to pass a resolution by the end of January if we were moving forward to facilitate this. So assuming this remains feasible, under our review, we'll be coming to you at mid-month. We would request that a mid-month be scheduled for that or whatever the other business is. Fairview Avenue, the project that we submitted to PwC, the decision's final. We are receiving nearly a $2 million grant loan combo for that project. We're working with engineering and the schools to get that underway. Should be a stakeholder meeting later on this month. And that is all I have on my report. If you have any questions.
Is the OPWC zero interest?
It's low interest loan and yeah, I believe it's zero interest.
No.
Megan,
Yes.
Director.
Are there any other questions for me?
Question related to the home camera sign up. Do you know if that includes the Ring doorbells? Would those have
I
cameras?
believe so. Any home
Okay.
cameras, yeah.
Okay. Also really appreciate you all spending the time and the our engineering folks to look into the EV charger stations. That's really just thrilling to hear. And congratulations on the OPCW, I'm sorry, the Ohio Public Works dollars. I saw in I think it was in your report, Director, the public meeting for mid-January is still what we're thinking?
We're trying to get a place in the schools to have that meeting, and haven't found a date yet that works for that. I sent some more date possibilities today. And if none of those work at the school, then we'll schedule in one of our facilities somewhere else. So yeah, we'll get it to happen between it's looking like the last week of January, the week of the 24th or so.
If you all, when you have that and you want to share it, I'd be happy to send it out on my channels to try to just get the word out more to residents. So, thank you. That's all I have.
Thank you. Moving on, Director of Finance.
Well, we closed the year today, which is pretty good since it's the first business day of the year. We're all reconciled. Everything's closed out, so I sent some updated reports this afternoon with just our final numbers and where we ended the year. I feel good about it. We brought in slightly more money than we expected and spent less than we budgeted, which we're required by law to do, but it's always good when it comes out favorably. You should have received W-2s. Those were mailed out a week or two ago, so you should have those, but if you ever need a copy, you can just contact us, and I can answer any questions you have.
Thank you. Are there any questions for the Director? Moving on, Director Coker, Planning and Community Development.
Yes, thank you. Just a few notes I'll highlight from my report. One is that we did settle on a provider called Bang Table, which we'll generally refer to as BTT, to help us with digital engagement strategies. So we're hoping to get that ready by February. That might be optimistic, but that's my goal. We have the draft report from EM for the municipal building, and are reviewing that for lots of different things. But I have reviews from Director Dvorsky and Mayor Kearns, and I'm doing one myself to get them all back, those comments, and we hope to have a final version of the draft report in the next few weeks. It's going to take a little while for them to incorporate those things. We're doing a cost reconciliation, having a second look at the costs related, because as you may be hearing in the market, there's a lot of inflation, there's a lot of market conditions with a lot of pressure on construction, so we really need to take a little bit harder look at some of that. Just tidbit, just today I got the final documentation that the segment of 3rd Avenue between the high school and the athletic fields is officially in Grandview Heights. So that is a done deal. And we are continuing to coordinate with WORPC with regard to the bikeway opportunity. So any lobbying for our cause is appreciated. On the economic development front, we have been, in December, we actually had a really great month. Did a lot of early engagement, both with the community, with the Christmas tree at the Holiday in the Heights event, as well as talking with the city of Columbus, One Columbus, and then many organizations here in town. So that's going really well. I included the chart for the output from the Holiday Wish opportunity at the Holiday in the Heights, and no surprise, perhaps Parks and Recreation is the #1 request for the community in terms of augmented opportunities. And then lastly, I'll just mention that there has been really robust interest in office space in Grandview, so that has been great to see. And we have one of our businesses here this evening, he would like an opportunity to introduce himself when the related legislation comes up on the agenda. That's all for me. If any questions, happy to answer them.
Any questions for the director?
Director Coker? Yes, thank you. Could you say a little bit more about the business mix and environment category on the Holiday in the Heights responses, what do you wish for the city? That one was a little cryptic to me.
Well, we have all the individual responses. I'm happy to get those out to folks. We don't have the final kind of outcome report from phase 1 yet. Just some little pieces that they've shared with us, but we do have all of those. I don't have them off the top of my head.
Okay, no worries. I was just, curious to
Yeah.
delve into that a little bit. Okay, thank you.
Just quickly.
Yes.
On the BTT tool, the engagement tool, we envision that being part of the economic development project that we're undertaking, but I think I'm hearing you say it could be more broad than that. That's a tool that we could use beyond the economic development plan to
For sure.
do some community engagement.
Yes,
as well.
so, yeah, absolutely. It is a tool that will allow us, it's a really very robust tool that will allow us to engage with the community digitally, really across any topic. It's got many different formats for engagement, everywhere from something, as simple as a yes, no, or select a pre-selected field, all the way to completely write in an answer for something, or it's got some location-based options as well. But yes, we're gonna use it for the economic development engagement process. Also, it's very good at doing planning interface engagements. It's really was created by a city planner originally, so it's very much about engaging with the community on improvement projects of various sorts. It can be used for practically anything, but it's very robust in that way, so yeah, definitely.
You probably said this will be on our website, this will be, will it be, did I see that it's gonna be available in
It'll be
February? Is that-
It'll
is
be
that-
I'm aiming for the first of February. We'll see, we've got to build it, but it's pretty intuitive, so hopefully it goes pretty quickly. It will be available via a link off the website, and it will work even, I would say, a little more seamless in a sense than RecDesk. It'll look like you're still on the city site. It will have a web address that we're still kind of working on, and actually, I think I might have some people who still owe me responses to the question about that, I'm not sure. And then you can link, back and forth between engagements. So for instance, if we're announcing a planning engagement based on our website, there'll be a link there that goes specifically to that sublink within the new site structure. So yeah, it should work pretty similar to RecDesk as far as feeling like something easy to navigate from the city's main website.
Can I take us back on the agenda too? I'm sorry.
Yes.
Apologies. Related to changes to income tax in 2022, in your report you had mentioned encouraging folks who are working from home in Grandview, who may have, typically worked in Columbus, lived here, have their employer taking out their income tax for Columbus. Could you share a little bit more about those changes and how you would recommend we encourage folks from Grandview to make that request to their employer?
Yes, so Aubrey's put out a few things. I think there was something on social media today. As of January 1st, employers needed to go back to the old way of withholding, which was you withhold to the place that the person is working. So in the past, most people went to an office and the employer withheld for wherever that office was, Columbus, Gahanna, Grandview Heights. Now, if you're working from home, the employer needs to withhold Grandview taxes. During the pandemic, there was a temporary order that allowed employers to just keep the old withholding patterns. It's now changed. So people that are working from home part of the time or all the time should have Grandview Heights taxes withheld for the time they are working at home in Grandview. So we're recommending that they reach out to their employers. They can also contact our tax guys or contact Rita for assistance. The employer's payroll department should understand. And I think if they don't, they could always call Scott or Joe, and Joe can help them.
But you think that would need to be an employee-initiated action? While it's required of an employer to do that, we think it probably needs to be an employee-initiated kind of thing? Or is that a gray?
Well, yeah, the employers are required to withhold to the appropriate place.
Right.
There are some employers, depending on the complexity of their tax department and their payroll department, may not understand all of those rules, or may have not paid attention. So yes, it is on the employees just to make sure, because of your community, the money does come to Grandview. We're really encouraging the residents here to just take a proactive approach and make sure their taxes are withheld to the appropriate place.
Thank you.
If I may, to your point about how gray this might be, the rule's clear, but we think the implementation will be a hot mess. Because of a couple of factors. One is that we're really in this kind of interim state where people are temporarily working from home, but it may be permanent, but it may be hybrid, and it's evolving, and also it's really just hard to do it perfectly. So just any help we can get really to collect what is due to the city.
Yeah, and some employers have never had to do with this or deal with this at all. So, I mean, just helping educate them is what we're hoping.
Any further questions? All right, moving on to the attorney report. Did Director Kazan have anything to report?
I have nothing to report other than what would be a written submission from city attorney.
Great, thank you. We will not torture you with questions.
Appreciate that.
Moving on, old business, there is none. New business, item number 1.
Resolution 01-2022, a resolution authorizing the disposal of city surplus personal property by internet auction or other permissible means.
Thank you, Mayor Kearns, or Director Miller. Do you have anything to add to this legislation?
We ask that council approve this annually, just allowing us to sell any surplus property online rather than do, the revised code has a whole long thing you can do where you have in-person auctions, but now with online auctions, it's just so much easier to do it that way. So this is an annual request.
All right, so housekeeping measures primarily.
Yes.
All right, is there any discussion? Motion?
I would move to approve.
Second?
Thank you, that's a motion and a second. Clerk, please call the roll.
Edwards,
Yes.
Hudson-Patina, she's absent. Houston,
Yes.
Kozak,
Yes.
Panzera,
Yes.
Smith.
Yes.
President Keeler,
Yes.
Resolution 01-2022 has been approved.
Thank you. New business, item number 2.
Ordinance 2022-01, an ordinance authorizing the mayor and director of finance to enter into a development incentive agreement with Pluto Healthcare Staffing, providing economic incentives to expand and relocate operations within the city of Grandview Heights.
Thank you. Would the representative like to come forward?
If I may, this is CEO Sean Barber of Pluto Healthcare. Just to give you all a little background, it's business in Grandview Yard. They are a very interesting business model that is doing really well and expanding and crammed in like sardines in the sublease space. Really wants to stay in Grandview Yard. This is a growth incentive, a retention incentive. We would love for them to stay, and we anticipated the agreement would be finalized, but because of the holidays, we're working on a few terms. We think we'll have it to you in a few days, and go ahead and introduce yourself and
Sure.
give us background on your
I think
company.
you stole a lot of my thunder.
Yeah.
Nice to see you again, Mayor Kearns, and it's a pleasure to meet all of you tonight. Like Mayor Kearns said, my name is Sean Barber. I'm the Chief Executive Officer of Pluto Healthcare, and just on behalf of my organization, I'd like to thank you and all of your constituents that you represent for your interest and consideration in providing incentive support for Pluto's proposed expansion here in the city of Grandview Heights. And Pluto is super excited, and I am as well, about the continued possibilities here. So.
Great. Do you have any questions? Yes.
Could you share a little bit about your business, and Mayor Kearns mentioned business model, just to get a sense of, what kind of business it is, and, kind of where you are in your, phase of growth or expansion. We'd love to learn a little bit more about that.
It's dangerous to ask me about Pluto because I could talk for a very long time, so I'll try to keep it concise. But Pluto was founded in late 2019. We provide travel nursing and travel allied services primarily into hospitals. Kind of the thesis when we started Pluto was keeping Ohio's healthcare workers in Ohio, and this was pre-pandemic. So post-pandemic, our business model and business strategy really was proven out, and we've kind of blown through every goal that we've set for the business from the start. Had no employees in 2019. As of this week, we're sitting at north of, I think, 320 employees, so we've grown pretty substantially in that time. And kind of the next phase is to expand into geographies other than the state of Ohio. So we're really just trying to put together what phase 2 looks like, and incentive support would go a long way to bridging the gap, and me as a steward of the business, putting us in the best possible position to continue our mission of keeping healthcare workers in the states that they work.
Thank you.
Thank you. Are there any other questions? All right, we will record that as a first reading. Thank you so much
All
for
right.
coming
Thank you,
tonight.
guys.
We appreciate you having me here. All right, moving on, other business, we have many appointments and liaison appointments. I will also email this out so that we have the list. For the standing committees for finance, we have, Councilmember Hutchinson, Councilmember Kozak, and Committee Chair, Councilmember Smith. For planning and administration, we have Councilmember Edwards, Councilmember Houston, with Chair, Councilmember Hutchinson. Safety, we have, Councilmember Houston, Councilmember Panzera, with Chair, Councilmember Kozak. Parks and facilities, we have Councilmember Edwards, Councilmember Hutchinson, and Councilmember Panzera as Chair. For ad hoc committee, we have economic development. Their mission is to continue consideration of future economic development policy objectives and align with ongoing citywide planning with a projected end of 2024. And that will be comprised of Councilmember Panzera, Councilmember Smith, and Councilmember Edwards as Chair. For liaisons, for the chamber, we have Councilmember Houston, CODA, Councilmember Smith, Destination Grandview, Councilmember Hutchinson, Library, Councilmember Kozak, Morpsey, myself. Planning Commission representative will be Councilmember Panzera. School liaison will be myself, and Sustainable 2050, which is a mayoral appointment, will continue with Councilmember Edwards. But we also will plan on having a council retreat, either February 12th or 26th from 8:30 a.m. till noon. And I would ask that you respond to an email I will be sending out later with those dates, letting us know your availability. Are there any questions?
Dates of the retreat again? Do you-
February 12th or 26th?
do you-
President Keeler, would
Yes.
you please say my liaison role again? Sorry.
The chamber.
Chamber?
Yeah.
Okay. Thank you.
All right, at our next meeting, or prior to our next meeting, we would hope to have some professional development for council members as well. So please, plan on coming early on January 18th, I think that is. All right, moving on, comments from council members. I would like to welcome back all of our council members and welcome to new council member Kozak. With the increase in COVID cases, I would encourage everyone, if you have not already gotten it, to get your booster shots. Are there any other comments from council members? Councilmember Houston?
I wasn't able to look at the historical data to confirm, but what I suspect is that we have made history tonight with being the first time female majority council. Does anyone know if that might be correct? I thought it worth noting and honoring if that is in fact true.
You're
With
probably right.
Michelle Kozak joining us.
So for the mayor.
And mayor, so pretty exciting. Thank you.
Are there any other comments from council members? No. Okay. Well then, at this time, we will have executive session pursuant to Ohio Revised Code 121.22G8. I'm going to try to read this from an actual revised code, so I apologize if it's slightly wonky. To consider confidential information related to the marketing plan, specific business strategy, production techniques, trade secrets, or personal financial statements of an applicant for economic development assistance, or to negotiations with other political subdivisions respecting requests for economic development assistance, right? There we go. We did not need that last part, just through the applicant for economic development assistance. Is there a motion to move?
So moved.
To move into
Executive session, but I'm not going to try to repeat all of what you just said.
Thank you. Is there a second?
Second.
Thank you. That's a motion and a second to enter into executive session. Clerk, please call the roll.
Houston,
Yes.
Kozak,
Yes.
Panzera,
Yes.
Smith,
Yes.
Edwards,
Yes.
President Keeler.
Yes.
Council will move into executive session.
Thank you. I would invite the mayor, the Miller, and Director Holder to the meeting. You're welcome to stay. Welcome. And we'll just take about 5 minutes so we can get things closed down.
Chris, I will need to make a copy of it.
Good to see you.
Melanie.
I was gonna say, you're the
Michelle.
holder,
Well, I
yeah.
will need your vote, so I can make a copy of it.
Okay. This time, vote.
Thank you for coming.
Yeah, no problem.
Sorry about me.
Very good.
My daughter.
Yeah, they can all-
Yeah.
all through the car, and then, yeah, they're very excited to check out all the, there's a lot there. Send,
Enjoy that.
yeah, so we were in, London for 3 years, and then 1 year at what's there.
Thank you.
Yeah, we just wrote one here.
Here's Ken.
Okay. Back to you, no, back.
I'm sorry.
Oh, yeah. Okay.
I know.
Yeah.
I get that.
Yeah, I don't,
We were in
be
London.
clear, I don't care. Absolutely zero. But I had to,
Right.
I had to review. Yeah, it's really close.
Yeah, yeah.
Oh,
Oh, okay.
I get to hear Bob now.
Right. Oh.
I'll take Rebecca's mail to make sure she gets it.
What do you go, Stacy?
Mhm.
Yeah.
I forgot to ask, we had some
You don't
issues
want
where
that,
even,
no.
I
Yeah, yeah.
don't remember you ever doing that.
Yeah, so I'm
before,
on
so-
this.
I think it goes back to maybe the first
Charter.
All right.
And,
whatever.
I think
I mean, it's not like it gets.
but these,
Yeah, I looked at
like,
So,
self-responding text, email.
It's a
that's how
text
you
message.
do it. Yeah,
And
yeah, and yes, I do know.